Consent. In Matthew 5:37, Jesus said, "Just let your word yes be yes, your no, no. For that goes beyond these is from the wicked one." Giving and receiving consent is an extremely important factor in life. For example, no one wants an acquaintance to enter your house without knocking the door, open what's in the fridge, and eat what is in there, walk toward your room, open the drawers, search for your wallet, and grab the money you have, then walk away without receiving consent to do all that. Would you consider something like that very aggravating and unsafe? Yes. Nobody should do anything like that without permission. Hence, there are laws that penalize those abusive intrusions to protect everyone's belongings, assets, safety, and privacy. But how can we reinforce a safe environment in society without having to rely on the help of laws and public security forces? Explicit permission is required for consent. Consent essentially requires very accurate communications. In failing to do so, you might be putting in jeopardy your safety and the ones around you. Accurate communication practices are extremely important. As Jesus Christ said, "Your word, yes, be yes. Your word, no, no." Have you ever said a verbal no with an implicit yes? We are going to illustrate with an example, an analogy that might explain why bad communication practices might be the cause of many sexual assaults and rapes. Let's see the example of Bobby, who is seeing a lady called Baby, who is a more experienced woman. She shows him some interest, so Bobby asks her a question. Baby responds no, but she intentionally leaves the door open. So Bobby enters and they continue expressing some affection. She pushes back and says no again to continue, but at the same time, she seduces him by sending him some implicit signals, so he continues despite the verbal no, and both end up in bed. Bobby being rewarded with a great, pleasant romantic experience. And Bobby's brain starts processing that the woman's word is irrelevant and unimportant, since by not acting according to her verbal communications, he received a reward. Inappropriately learning that explicit verbal consent is not necessary, but instead ignored since everything is implicit. Bobby's subconscious mind now has been programmed to think that what a woman might say is irrelevant and not worth of attention nor consent. The following experiences end up similarly for Bobby, reinstating, re-stimulating, and reinforcing the same thought process of not giving importance to explicit verbal consent and accurate communications, until one day that Bobby meets Abby, another girl who shows interest in him. They start some affection, but at some point Abby pushes back and says no. Bobby unconsciously continues, but she asks him to stop again, although, due to the program taught, he has an unconscious bias that tells him that her word is inaccurate, that she's just playing the same game others did and that consent is not required, and that he will be rewarded if he continues. The situation escalates to a very bad and tragic end of the story. If you are a male who is thinking to take a romantic approach and you are concerned about your safety and the ones around you, preventing to get into troubles, communicate to the person you are interested that for you a no means no, and a yes means yes, and that you will act accordingly without accepting insinuations as an implicit yes or no. If you are a woman concerned about your safety and the safety of the general public, never speak inaccurately about what you want, since not doing so might develop and re-stimulate abusive practices in your romantic partners, which may end up in creation of sexual predators who overpass the need of consent. Safety always comes first. Communicate accurately and honestly always. Ensure consent is clearly expressed if you want something. Don't play games in regards to expressing consent. Your safety might be at risk if you don't. And as Jesus said, your word, yes, be yes. Your no, no.
If you like our videos, please subscribe and enable the notification bell.